Hey there. Okay, I just got back from seeing the new movie called Amsterdam, and it stars Christian Bale and John David Washington. Christian Bale plays a character called Bert, and John David Washington plays a character called Harold, which is his best friend. And yeah, this is one of those situations where whenever you see the poster and the trailers showing the massive cast, because you have like Christian Bale and John and Margot Robbie and Mike Myers and Michael Shannon and Chris Rock and Robert De Niro and
Make it stop!
but anyway, okay, let me start this off with some Dr. Pepper Zero, and I'm gonna get my buddy here, Evan Williams Honey, because did I like it? Was it any good? It was okay at best, and just, yeah, as I said, whenever you have your marketing based on the all-star cast, sometimes it can work, sometimes it doesn't work, but this was, we'll see, we'll get into it in a second, okay? But, yeah, so Christian Bale's character, before I start the drink here, his character was, if you can tell by the trailers, injured in the war, which is World War I, and he got some injuries, and he has a glass eye. And don't worry, this glass eye will come into effect the entire freaking movie. So, yeah, about to get into it. Let's start this Evan Williams Honey and Dr. Pepper. 1 second. Yeah, not bad. So, enjoy the intro. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so as I said, the character of Bert, he's a war veteran, and his glass eye is popping in and out of the film the entire time.
Yes, we get the drill.
The film is, for the most part, a kind of murder mystery, but also some conspiracy, a little bit of peppering of some dark humor. And the dark humor is not like laugh out loud comedy, but, dark humor. You're going to smile and giggle a little bit at certain scenes. But, Christian Bale, he's in like 95% of the movie, and as always, like the man does, he just steals the show. And he can go from having a Boston accent to being skinny, to being fat, to being whatever. He does a very excellent job of sounding like a guy from 1930s New York. And his character's like half Jewish and half Christian, and just, Christian himself, every time he's on screen, it makes you smile, but unfortunately, as good as he is, the rest of the cast doesn't seem to follow suit. Because, as the film's called Amsterdam, the synopsis is pretty off, because it says that it's about 3 best friends who witness a murder, and then they have to, uncover this mystery and, kind of conspiracy, but it's misleading, because the premise is, after we get to know him and his best friend Harold and the backstory of where these guys are coming from, they eventually meet Margot Robbie, who is a nurse over in France, and she's, helping these guys out and healing their wounds, and we have this, very long, and for me, drawn out sequence of how the 3 of them bond. But she's not there when the murder happens, because Bert is doing what he does, his Bert situation, and he gets hired by Taylor Swift. And I can tell you one thing, and spoilers, the best part of the movie is Timothy Olyphant shows up, and because she's running from these guys and trying to figure out how her father was killed, she's afraid, and as they're talking to her, Timothy Olyphant, he pushes her in front of a car and she gets run over and she's killed. And best believe, anytime someone can kill Taylor Swift, that's a great thing.
She's a grade A bitch.
Yes, the rest of the cast is diverse. Chris Rock is there just being Chris Rock. At this point, he's not even playing a character, he's just Chris Rock.
Got a dead white man in a box. Not even a casket.
Making cracker jokes, making white people jokes, and sometimes they're cringy, but also the time setting.
In a pine box of old wood. Who do you think's gonna get in trouble here?
It is the 1930s, and everything that Chris Rock says, I'm laughing because it's Chris Rock and I love the guy. But yes, Timothy Olyphant's there for 5 minutes, and just the rest of the cast. I mean, Zoe Saldana, as always, looks just beautiful and fantastic. She has a handful of selective scenes, and that's pretty much it. Mike Myers and Michael Shannon, they're there, and they're just there to push the plot along for certain aspects of the movie. And it's Christian Bale seems like he's the only person, as he always does. The guy is not phoning it in. As much as I couldn't fucking stand Thor 4, I didn't hate Christian Bale because he's Christian Bale, and he's really trying and working his ass off. The rest of the cast, however, it's these guys were just sitting here and reading off cue cards, and we're just talking right now, and our lines are very delivered and forced, and the first take, and it feels it, There's so many scenes I felt that were kind of drawn out. There's explaining something, and there's over-explaining something. Some scenes are just, they're over-explaining everything to the point where, guys, we get it, we understand. You don't have to tell us every little aspect of what's going on and what the plot is, Rami Malek. It just seems like even Rami Malek, it's his character is in a different movie sometimes than Christian Bale's character. Yeah, no doubt, all-star cast, all-star talent, but, if you don't have a good script, if you don't have a good director,
What does it matter?
in the end, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it, and I would tell anybody, as an honest review, and as I said, a blue-collar person who respects his money and his time, I'd wait for a rental at best, and even then, definitely a bunch of scenes I could see myself fast-forwarding.
Fast forward that.
The movie clocks in at 2 hours and 14 minutes, and it damn sure feels it. I would say it would have been so much better to trim minimum, if not more, but minimum, a half hour off this movie, because so many scenes go on longer than you want them to, and there's even so many different side stories and side arcs that just don't pay off, and you're like, what were even these scenes in this movie for? The basic plot is two best friends see somebody gets killed and trying to figure out why somebody killing her for and who's behind this big conspiracy. And it should be pretty straightforward. It should be pretty basic, but it's anything but. It goes in so many different directions that does not pay off later on. So I'm not gonna remember this movie and after this review, I'm probably never gonna talk about it again. I have no desire ever to watch it again. So at best, red box, or maybe if you want to sail the high seas or something, like a pirate.
Captain Jack Sparrow.
I'm checking my watch and, busy, gonna edit this and pull up my old buddy Bender, and I hope you liked the review. I'm sorry if it wasn't more detailed. Not much to talk about, guys. I'm sorry. And one last time, doesn't matter how many actors you have or how much talent you have, a great actor or great actors can't save bad pacing and bad editing. And that's what this comes down to. So let me get Bender and let's end this, okay?
This calls for a drink.
That is really good. Evan Williams and Dr. Pepper. So I'm going back to work.